So tonight I am going to be focusing on one of the two therapeutic card games that I developed personally for couples who are experiencing a crisis or there is some turbulence in the relationship. The first one is called relationship therapy. Not going to really get into that tonight. Relationship therapy. This is more of like a tune-up for your relationship. When you know that there's trouble on the horizon, you know there's a disconnect, you know there's some conversations that need to start as things are brewing, but you don't know quite what to say. Relationship therapy. However, game, for lack of a better term, number 2, which is my most popular, is Surviving Infidelity. And if you listen to DivaSpeaks, if you watch my television show, listen to the podcast, or watch any of my live video, you would know that the bulk of the letters that I get involve infidelity. Whether you are married or in a committed relationship, infidelity or adultery happens, and when it happens, sometimes you know you need to start talking, but you don't know what to say. Surviving infidelity, because even if you don't stay with that person, you still want to survive that level of betrayal coming from someone who you love deeply, thought you were going to spend the rest of your life with, or want to continue the journey and you just want to kind of start the healing process. Surviving infidelity. Now, the couple that is on the front of the card could be you and your significant other rekindling, the relationship or the marriage, or this could represent the affair that tore apart your marriage or your relationship. Either or, you get to determine what the couple that's demonstrated on the front of the card set represent for you. Now, let me show you what I mean. Once again, the focus tonight is on surviving infidelity. And once again, I want to remind you guys that I personally developed this therapeutic card game for couples who have experienced infidelity or adultery in their marriage or their relationship. Been there, done that, never really want to go through that again, but I know that it happens, and I know firsthand how difficult it can be. Even if you're not sure of the direction you want to take with that person, you still want to survive, once again, the act of betrayal. And there are so many questions that you may have about that affair. And it's not easy sometimes to get the information from someone if they're still actively engaging in the cheating. And sometimes, let's be honest, between you and I, when you start trying to have the sit-down conversations with that person, with the person that you're in a relationship with, who has betrayed you, it can feel more of like an interrogation versus a conversation, and you're really doing your best to pull that information out of them, to get them to be honest and transparent and help you to understand, how did we get here? I get that. But again, my concern was when I developed the card game set, the therapeutic card game set, is that I didn't want it to feel like an interrogation, because you want your partner to open up so that the two of you, or you can decide what you want to do with this relationship with that person. So let me give you an example. So for you, this would be one of the questions that you would ask. How do you plan to help rebuild this marriage? This is an example. I don't know why I can't talk, guys. This is an example of one of the questions in this therapeutic card game set. This question is designed to help your partner, your significant other, your spouse, to really put some thought behind how do they plan to help rebuild that marriage or that relationship, right? Okay, question number 2. Okay. When was the last time you talked to them? Isn't that something you would like to know? Since now you have knowledge of the affair, okay? Wouldn't you like to know the very last time that they talked to that person? Okay? Let me give you another example, okay? Where did you meet this person? Okay? Because you want all of the information that you could possibly get. Okay, and one more from this side of the table. One more card or one more question that I want to share with you to let you know how this game works is one of the questions that you would ask if you are the person that has been betrayed in your supposed to be committed relationship or your marriage, okay? Are you willing to get tested by a physician to ensure you have not contracted anything? Okay, this is an important question. Wouldn't you want to get tested? Wouldn't you want them to get tested? Especially if now that you have knowledge of the affair, that they have been with someone else, you need to get tested to make sure you haven't contracted anything from your partner who's been out there in those streets. And you want to make sure that they're willing to be responsible with you moving forward to make sure that their health has not been compromised by being out here in those streets, okay? Do you see that question right there? Is that not a valid question? Let's be honest. If you have ever been in a relationship where you've been cheated on, adultery or infidelity, this is a very important question. But let me tell you the trick, not the trick, but what's so special about surviving infidelity. Because once again, I want to circle back. You don't want it to feel like an interrogation because no one wants to be or likes to be interrogated, right? Because if you're the one doing all the questioning, it's not going to feel like a conversation. And my fear is that it would be more of a combative type atmosphere that you do not want, right? A one-sided conversation. I've developed within this deck questions for the cheater, okay, to ask of their own. Because whether we like it or not, whether you agree with it or not, there's always a reason. Let me give you an example of some of the questions that the cheater, okay, may have. You know what this one says? Are you holding any resentments towards me? Isn't that a valid question? If you're the cheater in your relationship and you're willing to sit down and have that conversation with your significant other or your spouse, and you're saying, you know what, I really do want to work it out, so let me ask some questions of my own. Would you not want to ask this question? And if you're the one getting cheated on, wouldn't you want them to have this question? Okay, that's one. Okay, very important question from the cheater's side of the table. You see it, don't you? Can you forgive me? And the final card I'm going to draw from this deck, okay? Once again, we're talking about questions being posed from the offender, the cheater's side of the table. Because once again, I want to circle back. Whether you like it or not, there's always a reason. You don't have to agree with it, but there may be a reason that you need to know about. And they may have questions, issues, or concerns of their own that they were not willing to talk about with you prior to getting into something into somebody they shouldn't have been. The final one I want to share with you, just to give you an example of how this therapeutic card game helps you facilitate that conversation needed between the two of you to open up that flow of communication. This is the final one. This is coming from the cheater side of the table, guys. Okay, this card. Do my actions show that I'm remorseful so far? And you see, from this question alone opens up another floodgate of questions, okay? You can travel down an alternate road because the answer could be yes, the answer could be somewhat, and it could take a turn where the cheater could then ask, what more can I do? Or how can I show you? You see how this card game, I'm telling you, it is priceless. It is golden. Because you're drawing from a deck of cards. They're not premeditated. The two of you are forced to answer questions from both sides of the table, making it a conversation and not an interrogation. I encourage you tonight to go ahead and purchase Surviving Infidelity, developed by yours truly for couples who are in a crisis, experiencing or who have experienced infidelity, and you are trying to determine what is your next step. My name is AnGala BETRAYAL of DivaSpeaks Relationships. Visit my website at diva-speaks-official.com and place your order today.